Thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. The topic of today is do the things that you said you were going to do. Now this is a really important video to me. It's a really important topic and honestly something that I try and live my life by. But I know there were times in the past where I definitely didn't do this and I felt the full effects of not doing this. So first and foremost, do you ever feel like you've let yourself down? The whole day's passed. You maybe had a list of things that you wanted to do, but you couldn't manage to do half of them, or you didn't manage to do any of them at the extreme. It's a terrible feeling. Now, a further question. If you've answered yes, which I presume most of you have, because I also have done this many a time, have you ever then felt the added pressure of knowing that other people know now that you didn't fulfill the tasks that you said you were going to do? The answer is yes, right? It's not nice. It's a horrible feeling. Not only do we not feel good about ourselves, but now the heightened expectation from everybody else makes us feel even worse. Because not only do we know that we've not done the things we said we wanted to do, we now know that our friends, our peers, our competitors, our colleagues also know that we haven't done the things that we want to do. Now, if this is something that is overly common within your day-to-day life, unfortunately people are going to lose respect for you. Your word has less value, which means you have less value. And when people lose respect, they lose trust. Our actions have consequences, and if we are going to show that we are inconsistent or say we're going to do certain things and not do it, that is going to be rewarded. Unfortunately, the reward is not something nice. So how do we fix this? Well, the simple answer is to become your word. Try and live by a rule that if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. Now that might be really difficult because you're thinking, well, I've said I'm going to do lots of things, and I've said I'm going to do this by this time frame and that by that time frame. A simple tip is to simplify your goals. Stop shooting for the stars when you're climbing a 6-foot ladder. The expectations are too high. And not only the expectations are too high, you're telling other people of these expectations, so you're setting the bar so high for yourself that you know you're never going to reach it. And you're telling others of what you want to do. It's not a recipe for success. So number one, simplify your goals. Stop shooting for the stars when you're only 6 foot in the sky. And also, try and become your word in that when you say you're going to do something, it really has value. We can simplify that. We can make it so that, for starters, you're not doing these overly difficult things, but at least you're being consistent. At least you're doing the things that you said you wanted to do. For example, I like to live by a rule that if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So if I set to myself that I'm going to go to the gym, often I will say to people, I'm going to the gym, and that gives me the own accountability to know that I now need to go to the gym, not just because of my own pressure, because I might be able to get out of it that way, but the added pressure of my peers and my friends, who, by the way, would give me an extremely funny look, and very, very occasionally do when I don't go to the gym. That holds me accountable, but it also makes me consistent. And accountability and consistency are two huge factors that lead to respect. Do you want to be the person that people can't rely on? Do you want to be the person that people think is a flake, that's going to drop out at the last minute, that never shows up on time, that is never consistent? No, you don't. So a simple fix is to become your word. Don't make it too difficult for yourself. Don't say, I only started the gym last week, but this week I'm going to bench press 100 kilos. That's not realistic. But what you can say in that context is that I'm going to train really hard. Every time I go to the gym, I'm going to make sure my diet improves so I get protein in and so that I build muscle quicker and so that I can get stronger. one is attainable and one is out of reach. So again, it's not about doing extremely difficult things, and it's not about scaling impossible heights, but what it is about is doing the things that you said you were going to do. And there's the balance. And the funny thing is, when you do the things you say you're going to do, you reap the rewards of that. And they're the positive rewards as opposed to the negative rewards that we discussed earlier. Respect. People trust you. Opportunities come from that. And you get a sense of fulfillment in yourself, because only you know how hard you work. But if you do the things that you said you were going to do, then deep down, at the end of the day, when it's just you, and you're brushing your teeth and you look in the mirror, you know you've done good. And you know that you're a person of your word. And a person's word means everything, because without your word, you have nothing. Thank you for listening. Do the things that you said you are going to do.